The Lord be with you. Dear friends, one encounter with the right person can change someone's life for the better forever. And when that one right person is God, a divine encounter will not only change someone's life, but the person will also become an instrument of transformation and be saved for eternity. But on one condition: obedience. Your encounter with God must inspire you to obey divine commands, do divine will, and follow divine instructions. Brothers and sisters, God desires to encounter each of us in a way that will transform our lives and lead us to obey His will and offer Him true worship. The Bible is filled with accounts of individuals chosen by God despite their apparent limitations. Our ancestors in the faith, men and women, young and old, ancient and modern, were influential instruments of transformation through their profound encounters with God. Over and above human limitations or unworthiness, our encounters with the Lord can shift our focus from earthly concerns to faithfulness and obedience to God's will and commands. So, be attentive to the starting point of some of God's faithful servants whose initial encounters with God transformed and equipped them for divine purposes. Moses was transformed by his burning bush experience to lead the Israelites out of Egypt despite his speech impediment and initial lack of confidence. In a male-dominated society, Deborah, inspired by a message from God, led Israel to victory against Sisera and the Canaanite army. After an angel called him a mighty warrior, Gideon, despite being from a weak clan and feeling inadequate and with a small army, led Israel to victory over the Midianite. Through her encounter with the God of Israel, Rahab, a prostitute, protected Israelite spies, leading to her and her family's salvation and inclusion in the genealogy of Jesus. Jeremiah, feeling too young and inexperienced, was empowered by God to deliver divine messages despite opposition and persecution. Thomas and Paul experienced transformative encounters with the risen Lord, leading to their significant roles in spreading the good news of the kingdom. Filled with awe and overwhelmed by God's holiness, Isaiah felt unworthy and lost. Aware of his sinfulness, Isaiah confessed, "Woe is me, I am doomed, for I am a man of unclean lips, living among a people of unclean lips." Likewise, after a night of fruitless labor, Jesus tells Peter to put out into deep water and let down his net. Though hesitant, Peter obeyed. The miraculous catch that followed was overwhelming. In that moment, Peter sees beyond the miracle. He recognizes the holiness of Christ and is struck by his unworthiness. Peter falls at the feet of Jesus and exclaims, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." Both Isaiah and Peter realized their unworthiness in the presence of divine holiness and glory. They acknowledged their sinfulness and were cleansed, reassured, chosen, and called to witness God's glory and participate in His mission. Isaiah's encounter moved him from fear to God's messenger who declared, "Here I am, send me." Peter's life was forever changed. He and his companions, transformed from catching fish to catching people, left everything and followed Jesus. Dear friends, a moment with the Lord can transform your life and define your purpose, identity, and flourishing. Isaiah's heavenly vision of the Lord in the temple and Simon Peter's encounter with Jesus by the Lake of Gennesaret led them to recognize their unworthiness. The radical transformations in their lives led them to be chosen to witness God's glory and participate in His mission. What can we learn from these stories of transformation through divine encounters? They teach us to obey divine commands and stay committed to the mission associated with our encounters with the Lord. Consider Martin Luther King Jr., for example. Inspired by his faith and profound encounter with the teachings of Jesus Christ, he followed his calling to fight for civil rights and led a movement for justice and equality. His deep spiritual beliefs guided his actions and gave him the strength to persevere in adversity. Much like the biblical figures, Dr. King's life and work exemplify how a profound encounter with faith with God can lead to significant social change and transformation. Sisters and brothers, one extraordinary moment with the Lord can help you find purpose and meaning amid suffering and hardships and provide comfort, solace, and a profound understanding of your spiritual life. It can transform your adversity into a profound journey of faith, growth, discernment, and connection with yourself, others, and the divine. It can also lead to your profound transformation and redemption, repentance, healing, purification, and salvation. The stories of God's messengers, apostles, saints, martyrs, and holy men and women in our communities invite us to ponder what the Lord is asking of us now. Every encounter with God is unique to the person who experiences it. Still, we can gain wisdom and strength from pondering the experiences of those who became God's faithful servants and instruments of change through their encounters with God. Each person's encounter with God reveals his power, grace, faith, and providence. So, share your story of God's power and grace in your life. If you have profoundly encountered the Lord, how has the experience influenced your life? Have you left your nets, fears, doubt, negativity, and attachment to follow the Lord completely? And if you are wondering what it means to encounter the Lord profoundly, be inspired and encouraged by the testimonies of others and by your daily experience of forgiveness, mercy, peace, joy, love, and blessings. The Lord's initiative and prerogative is to choose and call his messengers. We can encounter the Lord in prayer, in word and sacrament, in one another, in creation, in our suffering and trials, and in every moment of grace that shakes us to our core. Dear friends, our unworthiness, failure, disability, personal limitations, lack of experience or exposure, or unsuccessful effort are all human, not divine. The Lord looks beyond your limitations and weaknesses and sees who you can be according to his will and purpose. We can be transformed regardless of our starting point. One encounter with the Lord can change everything and lead your life in an eternal direction. God does not call us because we are perfect. He calls us in our brokenness and transforms us by his grace because we are perfectible. Despite our imperfections and weaknesses, we have the potential to be transformed and perfected through divine grace and mercy. But we cannot encounter God and still hold on to our self-righteousness. Recognizing our need for God's mercy is the first step of transformation. God's holiness and overwhelming presence strip us of our defenses and bring us face to face with our shortcomings. So, acknowledge your sinfulness and limitation. Worship God in his holiness, glory, and power, and let his mercy and grace purify and transform you into his powerful and faithful messenger. And so we can all say, "Here I am, Lord. I will follow you." God bless you.